It's late in December 2013. We just had Christmas. Making a little video. I'll probably make a couple of them. And the purpose of them is to help my family take care of little household maintenance issues when I'm not around or able to do it for myself. So right now I'm going to concentrate on how to change a water filter. The water filter, the purpose of the water filter is to filter rock sediment out of our incoming water from our well. We have a lot of rock sediment in the well because the well was drilled to 487 feet, which I didn't believe myself until I seen the well report, because that's unusually deep. But that's the case. We have good water and we have lots of it. And the only thing is that we have rock particles, powdered rock particles that plug everything up if we don't filter them out before they get to the house. So the first thing I'm going to do is show the water train so everybody understands how water flows through the house. Water starts by coming in from that pipe right there. The water goes down. The water goes to this pressure pot right here. And you may be asking why. Well, there's a pump that's in the well that's 400 feet down. It's electrically supplied by this control panel. So water gets pushed up to the house, fills this pot. This pot has an air bubble at the top, which allows it to compress and push water back into the house at a reasonable pressure. This electrical pressure switch is what tells the pump when to turn on and when to shut off, so that we have a reasonable amount of water pressure in the house. Right next to it is the water shut-off valve to the house. So water comes in from the well into the pressure tank, and a pressure control valve controls it. Then it goes past this valve, and right now the valve's in the on position. That's in the off position. We have a problem with when people do laundry, they drop their laundry on the valve, they shut the valve off, and they wonder why there's no water in the house. It's important that you guys remember to keep the valve on. If you turn it off by accident, turn it back on. Then the water follows the hose up into the filter. The filter is fairly dirty right now. You can see that we have powdered rock sediment along the whole bottom of the filter and inside the jets, inside the filter tube. From there it carries on to the rest of the house. Now we're looking at where the water gets divided into hot and cold water. So, the bigger pipe goes along over top and it feeds that T. Water going this way is going to the hot water tank to get heated. Water going this way is cold water supply to the rest of the house. We're going to turn these two valves off when we're changing the filter. Panning back a little bit, we see a third valve. That's a cold water valve too, and all that does is shut off water to the laundry room. For all intents and purposes, that valve can stay open for the rest of the life of this house. The valve to the right is a cold water valve supplying the rest of the house, and again the valve to the left supplies the hot water tank, which supplies all the hot water in the house. Another note about these valves is you see them, all the handles are parallel to the pipes. In every single valve setup, when the handle is parallel to the pipe, it means the valve is on. When the handle is perpendicular to the pipe, which means you turn it 90 degrees and it'll only go one way, then that's when it's off. So for water to be on, the valves have to be parallel to the pipe all the time. Here's another example of a quarter turn valve. This is the drain valve at the bottom of the filter, which we'll be turning shortly. You can see that the valve handle is perpendicular to the water flow, right? The valve is this way and the pipe is this way, which means it's off, obviously, because it's not pouring water up. It'll only turn 90 degrees one way, and then it'll be open. Now, getting to the actual changing of the filter cartridge. We have to do this
at least once a week, sometimes more often, depending on how much laundry we do. And the way the system works is that we have a spare cleanable cartridge that just gets rotated out with the dirty one. And the dirty one gets soaked in a bleach water solution to clean it, rinsed off, dried, and it's ready to go for the next change out. So you're just switching one to the other all the time. I should actually clarify that the filter goes that way. This is the top of the filter in the housing. Step one is to turn off the main water supply. It's off. As well as the water leaving the system, which is the hot water feed and the cold water feed. Those two valves get turned off. That middle valve, just leave it alone, leave it on, it doesn't matter. Now we still have water, pressurized water, in the line and up that 3/4 inch copper pipe. And we also have sediment at the bottom of the filter housing. So we're going to stick a bucket underneath the filter to collect the water and open the valve to let the filtered settlings and water pour out. Didn't get a whole lot of blast because now water is trapped in there because no air can get in, but we've relieved the pressure. So now we turn the filter housing counterclockwise. And you see the water rushing out. So now there's no more water in here. Let it out some more to get air into the system. Break the filter free. And now the water that's in the line going up here is going to pour out. And we're just going to sit here and catch it. I try to only twist it back on with one hand so that it's not too hard to get off. Put the old filter in the laundry tub for a minute. Just keep it out of the way. Take the new filter, or the cleaning filter, push it up. You'll feel when there's a bit of friction here on this O-ring, so you got to get it in and you got to get it up so that it's seated properly and it'll sit there nicely. Take the filter housing, spin it back in. Only as tight as you can get it with one hand. You see that the valve is still open. You want to close the valve. Now the filter change is done and you're ready to put water back to the house. Turn red valve back on, but don't yank it on because you don't want to hammer the pipes. So you just let it fill up slowly. And you can hear it filling slowly. Once you hear the filling stop, turn the valve on the rest of the way. Water pressure is restored and nothing's leaking. So that concludes the filter change. What we haven't done yet is turn these two supply valves on. And there's a bit of a process to doing that because now we've filled this column of pipe with air. There's air in there, and we don't want to let the air go hammering through the house. So the simplest, if you do let the air go hammering through the house, it really doesn't matter. It just splashes and makes a mess and kind of scares you a little bit when you're using the bathroom or something. What we want to do, with the way this house is set up, because the laundry tub is right here, we want to send all that air to the laundry tub. And we're going to do that through the hot water tap. So the first thing we're going to do is turn the hot water on, that one. Hot water is restored. Now the air is only going to go one way. It's only going to go through the hot water tank and out the laundry tub. But it's going to splash. So I use this piece of pipe so that I don't splash myself with hot water. And you just heard the air pounding through there. And now it's all done. That's it. The air is out of the system. Now we turn the cold water supply to the rest of the house back on. And that concludes the filter change. Now what we want to do is we want to get our old filter cleaned and ready for next time. Take our red bucket. We see this, the fines in there. That rock fine is really, really compactable and it does not flow. If I dump it in a laundry sink, it'll just sit in the laundry sink and we'll go down the drain. I'll have to force it down the drain by hand. I'll have to push it down the drain. And if I do that, then it still won't flow. It'll just go to the bottom and it'll make a dam. And basically, we're just going to have a buildup of this rock in this hole in the floor that's going to stop all the water from draining out of the house. So we just can't do that. All this rock has to get thrown outside. Absolutely none of it goes down the drain because it won't leave the house. It'll just get trapped in the basement and back up water. Always, always throw this shit outside. Okay, we got our bucket clean. Throw a little bit of bleach in it. Just a splash, pretty much. That's good enough. Fill it with hot water. Throw the filter in so that it's just buried. Put it on the floor so it's not in the laundry tub for when we do laundry. Gotta let it sit like that for 24 hours. Then we just rinse the filter off under hot water, put it back in the shelf and let it dry. It's ready for next time. Throw the bleach water, that can go down the drain. No problem, because there won't be very much rock in there. It's if you're not holding a phone when you do this, it takes literally less than 60 seconds to change that filter once you got it then activate. But since I'm making this video, I'm going to point out that if we ever have a problem with a broken hose and water is pissing into the house and we want something to pop off, there's no switch for it. There's an electrical control panel. It's over there. I'm just going to pan over to the breaker box. I'm going to show you how to shut the pump off. On the left side near the top you see the tab that says water pump. Right there. And it's the double breaker. It's a double 20 amp breaker. You shut it off, it's done. That concludes my instructional video of how to service the water filter in this house.